Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Timeout with Coach Cam. It's your boy Cam Chancellor, and I got some great guests with me here. Uh, I have my boy, GMs for Hire. What's going on? Introduce him to the people. I gotta give him your name. The name Will. What's going on, Will?
What's going on, brother, man? We're doing all right, man. Hello, everybody watching. If you guys don't know me from GMs for Hire, we're all over. We're from YouTube. We're exclusively a YouTube channel now. We used to be on all platforms, but we're going full video on the YouTube now. So you can go catch us there. And then also all of our social media is right there where I have my little nameplate there. So if you want to go check us out, we do all things sports. Everything from sports Jeopardy to sports breakdowns, predictions, and everything such as that. So come check us out, man. Come and be a part of it. And happy to be here. Happy to have been working with Coach Cam for a while now, and happy to finally be on timeout.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Glad you could join me. Join me, Will, for sure. Uh, what's going on? Got my man Brian at the bottom. What's going on, man?
What it is, what it ain't, what it's gonna be, coach.
That's the classic line right there. That's what you're gonna get from him before every show. That line right there, and I love it. Um, you know, obviously game one happened last night, so we have to recap the NBA Finals there, Suns versus Bucks game one. You had a 118-105 Suns victory. Chris Paul with 31 really kicked it in gear, starting the second quarter, and really kicked it in gear that second half. You had Giannis with 20 points, 17 rebounds coming off of injury. And Middleton, excuse me, Chris Middleton gave you 28. Um, now with game one, obviously it's always knee jerk reactions. But I'm gonna start with Will. Um, what's your main takeaway from game one?
So my main takeaway after watching game one, and for those who don't know me, I'm not much of the basketball guy, but I actually got a chance to watch this game, so I'm happy. Uh, if the Suns don't change what they did, and obviously they won the game, so this seems kind of obvious to say, but if the Suns play similar to how they did going forward in the next few games in the series, it's a lock. Phoenix is going to walk away with the championship because the way they were moving around the ball and working the pick and roll, doing some transitions and everything, and you were seeing Drew Holiday typically kind of get lined up with D Book, but it allowed for Chris Paul to be one-on-one with almost whoever was just open. And that ended up being, a lot of the times, it ended up being Brook Lopez. It ended up being PJ Tucker. In a lot of cases, CP3 was able to pick who he wanted to make his shot against, and it always happened to be a big man. Now, granted, the size difference is there, but the athletic ability is not there to keep up with Chris Paul. Brook Lopez is not a guy to be going one-on-one with CP3. It doesn't make sense. And we saw it in almost every single shot Chris Paul was making. It seemed to be over a big man. And then even if he couldn't handle it, even if he was in an iffy situation, those big men were up guarding Chris Paul, and it left DeAndre Ayton to be down up against somebody like a PJ Tucker who's only 6'5", or up against a Drew Holiday who's having to cover on the wing who's only 6'3", and DeAndre Ayton's out here 6'11". The only person who can keep up with his size was either Brook Lopez or Giannis, and Giannis wasn't 100%. So, at the end of the day, DeAndre Ayton had a lot of wide open looks. Chris Paul was able to do a couple of step backs, make some mid-range shots, and create some open looks himself. The Suns were really putting it together. The pick and roll seemed to be too much for Milwaukee, and I think Phoenix is looking really good after game one.
Mm. Uh, just to take from Will there. What you got, Brian? What's your main takeaway from game one?
Main takeaway is coaching. Milwaukee got out coached. Just what Will was saying with the pick and roll, things like that. There's an advantage that Milwaukee has with size. If you got Brook Lopez and you got Giannis out there, you're supposed to be killing Phoenix inside. You can let Chris Paul do his thing. He's going to do your pick and roll, probably pull up for a long two-pointer or something like that. When you take it back down the other end of that court, You punish whoever it is down there that's either guarding Brook Lopez or trying to guard Giannis down in the paint. DeAndre Ayton is their only big guy they got out there for anything. Pound him. You get Ayton in foul trouble, now he's out. You have no rim protection at that point. Pound him inside. That's the way you beat the Atlanta Hawks, and that's the way they should have beat the Phoenix Suns, which I don't think Coach Bud is a very good coach. So didn't think that's the reason why I didn't pick Milwaukee to win the finals.
I get it. I get it because I don't like Bud either. I thought Bud should have been fired last year. Even though I think the bubble saved a lot of people's jobs overall, but I thought he should have been gone last year. Um, and I'm a rant for a minute, but I don't understand. Maybe somebody can answer me this question. I don't know of a rule. Um, I've never heard of a rule. Is Is it mandatory that you have to switch on pick and rolls these days in the NBA? I
Not
see
at all.
I see every team, no matter who it is, opposite teams run pick and roll. And some of these screens don't even land. They don't land. And the defender is just giving up and just getting buried under this weak screen. And I'm not getting it. Like, why would you not go over the screen and have at least have Brook head so he could get back on Ayton until somebody else, until Holiday, Middleton, whoever's guarding the pick and roll, whether it's against Booker or Paul, get them opportunity to catch up and defend. I don't understand. It just seems like lately the NBA, like the last 4 or 5 years, it don't matter if the pick land or not, they're automatically switching. They're automatically switching, and I'm not getting it because Brook Lopez left on the island with Chris Paul is never, never, never good news. I mean, no matter how um, athletic he may be or versatile he may be, he's not guarding Chris Paul on his best day. I'm not understanding the switches. Um, Now, if you ask me, do I think Drew Holiday maybe needs to guard Chris Paul? I'll say yes. In a sense, they need to switch that up. Drew Holiday needs to guard Chris Paul. Put Middleton and the rest of the gang on Devin Booker. Uh, and I know people, in love with Devin Booker and everything like that. To me, he didn't have a good game. He shot 9 for 21, 9 for 22, 1 for 8 from 3. I thought he got bailed out early in the game with a lot of the free throw opportunities he received. He had 8 first half free throws, which kind of, I'm not gonna say changed the game, but it kind of kept Phoenix kept Phoenix afloat until Chris Paul got going. My main takeaway from game one is that Phoenix did what they were supposed to do. They came out and handled business game one. I think game one also was Giannis was coming back. Giannis wanted to see what he could do. You know what I mean? I didn't see the full display of Giannis Antetokounmpo, even though I thought he played well given the fact that he's been out and has this injury and came back. I thought he played pretty well overall. But Drew Holiday can't go 4 for 14. But I wouldn't panic if I'm a Bucks fan at all. I think you're in a good position to get game two. To be quite honest with you, they have to play better and they have to make defensive adjustments. I don't know if they're going to keep allowing this switch to happen. If so, like Will said, this might be a quick series because you're not going to put Bobby Portis or Brook Lopez on Chris Paul and Devin Booker and ask them to do the job. It's just not possible.
I don't mind whenever they're doing the pick and roll and somebody like PJ Tucker ends up on him because PJ's not that big. PJ's 6'5". He's kind of undersized for his position and everything such as that. So him being up on Chris Paul, I mean, sure, that's fine. But getting Brook Lopez and then whenever my main concern is whenever you're doing these screens and then you're doing the switch and now you got Brook Lopez on Chris Paul, you got the biggest guy against the smallest guy. Well, now that means their biggest guy is wide open, and DeAndre Ayton did exactly what he was supposed to do. I know whenever we collaborated for my show on GMs, I said DeAndre Ayton's going to be my MVP in this, and I said he was going to average a cool 20 and 12 Well, he came up and dropped 22 and 19. He came up, almost dropped a cool 20-20 on me. And I wasn't ready for him to play off the boards like that. It was quite entertaining to watch DeAndre Ayton. I thought he did great. And I thought I think Williams and Lou, I think they made a great system for game one. But the Bucks have also lost all but one of the game ones in the series so far this year. And the Bucks are still here in the finals. So I agree with you, Coach. I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to force anything. I don't think it's time to panic. We got to see Giannis come back, and we talked about maybe if Giannis isn't in and they lose drastically, you need to start panicking a little bit. But Giannis was there. The loss wasn't. It wasn't too dramatic and everything such as that. I think this is a playable game back in. I think the series is far from over. But the Suns did look really good. The way that they were playing everything and the transitions and causing mismatches, I think the Suns did very well.
See, now, even with the way the Suns played, they played very well. They had a big lead, but they still let Milwaukee get back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
So Chris Middleton kept them in that game.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't necessarily Giannis, even though he played as well as he could.
Yeah.
But they have to change that lineup. Middleton is going to be the key to Milwaukee pulling out any one of those games. Because without him out there playing the way he did, it would have been a 40-point blowout.
Oh, yeah.
Now I say this now. Because I think Ayton's going to get his regardless, right? I think Ayton's going to get his regardless. And that's what want to bring me to a question that I have here. And I'm going to start with you, Brian. Now we've seen, some big men on the big stage for his first time on the big stage. His 22 points, 19 rebound performance was up there with Kareem, Wilt, the Dream. Some of the best centers we've seen step foot on the floor. Do you think DeAndre Ayton is a part now? Is he made himself a part of that next generational center type phase? As far as, is he Jokic? Is he Embiid? Is it Jokic, Embiid, Ayton? Are we talking like, is he that next tier? Is he in the tier of centers?
As much as I like Ayton in his game, no. And the biggest reason why, when you look at Dream, when you look at Shaq, a lot of times the offenses flowed through him. They're not dumping the ball down into Ayton. Ayton is making a move on offense and putting a killing on somebody. Most of the plays that Ayton is making is him rolling to the basket where somebody's lobbing him or he's getting an offensive rebound, putting it up. It's not him actually making an offensive move. And that's where I think he's more of a, sad to say, more of a Dwight Howard. Dwight should have been great. Dwight should have been the best, but Dwight never, for lack of a better term, created any offense for himself besides that little fake baby hook that he did if he couldn't just bulldoze over somebody. He never developed a jump shot. And if Ayton actually does something like that, develops a mid-range jump shot more like Dream did, then yeah, he'd be there. But as of right now,
Will, what you think?
No, I think I'm gonna have to agree with Brian here. I mean, I love Ayton. Like Brian said, obviously I picked him to be my Finals MVP. And I think, like you said, Cam Ayton's gonna get his regardless. I love that comment. I do agree that Ayton's top 10. I think Ayton is definitely up there in the upper echelon of centers when it comes to the NBA. But I also agree with what Brian said, to where a lot of the offense rolls, through the Joker. A lot of the offense rolls through Joel Embiid. Even if it doesn't, involve him bringing the ball down the court, he's at least getting the ball in hand and making plays. And this isn't something you're seeing too much with Ayton. We got to think Joker just won MVP. So whenever I'm thinking of Ayton being up there with Jokic, Embiid, Ayton, I'm thinking potential MVP candidate, because Embiid was right there too. I'm not willing to give him that yet. I think he is a phenomenal player at his position. I think yesterday, again, with the mismatches, caused a lot of chances for him to be very successful. And like I said, whenever you end up taking Brook Lopez back and he's guarding a point guard, now you got your center going up trying to grab boards over a shooting guard or a small forward. You're gonna be setting yourself up for success. But until Ayton's getting down in the paint, making the plays himself, doing everything, 100% through him. And I'd like to see him be able to pass the ball a little bit more. Once we can start seeing him average more than 2 assists in a game, that'd be cool. But what I think he's got all the great tools, but he's also very young. 22 years old. He's gonna be getting it, growing into his game. By the time he's 25, 26, I think you're going to be seeing a very polished Ayton, and I think he could easily be up there in the upper epsilon, especially since Jokic and Embiid will be on the wrong side of 30 by then. So Ayton, I love the guy. I think he's a great player, a great basketball player right now. But top 3, top 5, that's a little tough for me. I think he has top 5 potential, but right now I'd say he's top 10.
Top 10. Are we talking about top 10 like for our centers or just in the game?
For centers in the game right now, yeah.
Oh, okay. For me, man, I really like DeAndre Ayton. Now, I think me right now, far as centers, I think he's a top 5 center in the game.
Okay.
I'm looking at. I can't name 4. I can't name 4. I can name Joker. I can name Embiid. That's fine. Then after that, it get murky. Like it gets to the
It
point
does
where
get a
you're
little murky.
like, you might take Ayton at his age. He's still progressing. I think CP3 has elevated his game obviously. Um, but when I think of dominant centers, and I know the game has changed. Uh, and Jay Coop mentioned that. The style of play has changed, so it's not required. It's not necessarily the game ain't dump it to your big man, and then it's you clear out the way and let him go to work and draw doubles and all that stuff. You got the 2, and after that, it's different. He's a top 5 center, but generational still to me is he can you run through him. Like Brian said, you run that offense through him. And that for me still, that's what I mean by dominant as far as generational. Now, is he one of the best in the game right now? Yes. I think he's like Clint Capella on steroids to where he can catch lobs, but he's better offensively and he's just as good defensively. I think he's like a Clint Capella on steroids with his activity, his rebounding prowess, and and what caps it off for him is his offense. Generational, no, but all future, all star and top 3 in the game, possibly can climb up to top 2 or anything like that when he had his prime. Absolutely, I think so. Now I see this here. Ayton Gobert.
I take Ayton over Gobert.
Now the Gobert, I get it. I get it. I
Mm.
get it. Gobert gets disrespected though a lot, and Gobert, as a big man, you gonna get dunked on when you try to block everything. You're gonna get embarrassed sometimes when you try to go for everything. That's part of life as a big man. But overall, like Gobert is a 3-time defensive player of the year, winner.
The fake
Uh, I know.
DPO.
I see a fake defensive player. I understand because you wanted Ben Simmons to win this year. I get it. I understand, Chris, but you still don't take away still a former, defensive player of the year 2-time. And he's, been he's an all star. He's an all defensive player. Let's see here. He said, how you're a defensive player of the year, and in the playoffs, you're a defensive liability.
Hey, some
I,
people can't handle the stage.
I mean, I get it sometimes, but I mean, it just depends on if a team, going small, are they going big? Like I know with the Clippers, once they took Zubac out, they went kind of small to where that 5 man can, stretch out. And they was I think they was playing more senior at 5 a little bit for a while. And Gobert, you put him on the island, that's tough for a 7'2" guy. Go ahead, Brian.
See, but that's where, as a big man, you have to be dominant on the offensive end. Because if you're a liability on defense, you better bring something on offense.
That's fair.
And that's where I say if Ayton can improve, then yeah, he's right there with Joker. He's right there with Embiid. Because those two guys can dominate on offense as well as play some very good defense. Well, Embiid can. Joker, he's iffy, but his offense is number one. So if Ayton can bring that offense up a notch, then yeah, I put him right there. But right now, he's still in that second tier behind them. It's not too many centers because do we even consider Bam Adebayo a center?
I was just about to ask you, Coach.
That's a good question.
Do you take Ayton or Bam?
I would take Bam because Bam is better on offense, and he's just as good on defense.
I would also take Bam.
I would take Bam over Ayton.
Yeah,
Bam is better on offense.
I can
just as good on defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think y'all gotta go back and look, man, because Ayton before the Chris Paul, I know they was losing, but before that, they used to throw the ball to Ayton. He used to face up, jab step, jumper. Like he's a unicorn for real.
Yeah, he is, but Bam is more fluid. He's a little bit more athletic than Ayton. So I think he'll be able to get it and go a lot quicker and a lot more effective than what Ayton can. I'm not taking that away from him. I think he's good. I just say Bam is a little bit better on offense and just as good on defense.
I think me saying top 10 was a little bit too much. I think top 5 is definitely kind of clear. And I think, you got your Jokic, you got your Embiid. And then once you get there, I think that's where I'd have my confusion would be Ayton and Bam. I think that's where I'd be confused. 3-4. I think that's a good spot where I'd be a little bit confused about where to go next if I was having to take. If I was drafting a team straight up. Now, if I'm taking a team and I'm trying to start a team, I'm taking Ayton just because of the age. I'm taking and Ayton can. He has been putting up numbers. Yeah, right. I'm not going to argue. But I'm sitting there. But yeah, no.
I think we got to check Ayton's age, man, because Ayton he graduated with me. So I don't know. We got to check his age and see how old he is. I think him and Bam are right here. I don't know.
Hey, that's hilarious because Ayton do look old though. I ain't gonna lie to you. But moving on. Now, Giannis came back. I think we all agree. He's not 100%. But what you think about him returning, and what grade would you give him for his performance? When we talk about a 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, for me, I understand the Suns may be the better team, but when I see an individual like that, I expect him to bring it home. So I'll start with Will. What grade would you give Giannis' performance in Game 1?
So for Game 1 and for Giannis, I gave him a B flat. I just gave him just a normal B. Whenever you ask questions like this, I like to try to answer them in like 5 words or less. I try to play like the headline game. So whenever you said, how does Giannis look in this game? And what do you think about him making his return? I wrote 4 words. I said, went well, but why? Why are you bringing him back so early? I understand wanting to get that competitive edge and everything such as that. This is your guy. This is your back-to-back MVP. Obviously, I get the point of having Giannis on the court. I don't want people to sit there and think, oh, you think I could win without Giannis? Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And then the Bucks have shown that they can play well without Giannis. They took the last 2 against Atlanta without Giannis. So I like the idea of trying to get Giannis out there. I'm sure Giannis had say in it. I'm sure he said that he's great. He could be out there. He could play. But some of the notes I said, Giannis is who he is. He's going to get his points. He's going to get his boards. But he, like you said, he's obviously not 100%. There was only one play in this whole game where I saw like the grit and like hustle from Giannis, and that was his comeback block over Bridges. What that block over Bridges looked awesome. That's Giannis. That's exactly what I'd expect out of 34. But everything else, a lot of his boards, a lot of his points, he's just kind of camping underneath the bucket. He wasn't. You didn't really see too much dynamic plays. You didn't really see him. He backed down a couple people here and there. It is what it is. Some post play, but you didn't really see that grit and everything that like I've seen from Giannis as a multiple time MVP. So I think that it's good to see him back. It's good to see him play, and it's good to see him perform. But he obviously wasn't 100%. I don't understand the point of bringing him back. I'd rather him wait out, especially, I mean, you didn't know you were going to win or lose this game, but especially if he's back, he's not 100% and you're still losing. It's a little bit of murky water for me, but I like that Giannis played, but and I think he played well for how he is, but I also I'm used to seeing Giannis play a completely different game of basketball than that yesterday. So it went well, but it definitely left some to be desired.
So what you think, Brian?
Well, I'm with Will with grading it a B. The difference that I have for Giannis is the lack of a jump shot is very present with him and an injury because he relies so heavily on being the most athletic, long person out there. So that's how he makes a lot of his plays. That's how he scores a lot of his points. When he can't out athlete somebody, he's going to struggle, especially on offense, because he can't just step back and like KD shoot a jump shot when that knee or ankle or whatever is hurting him. So that's where he kind of got into trouble, where you saw him trying to lower the shoulder, get into the paint. He just couldn't explode past or over everybody. So he got a lot of foul calls on him, and now he has to go to his struggle point, which is the free throw line.
Oh God!
Now he fared a little bit better than what I thought. I think he still shot he was 6 for 10 or 7 of 11 or something like that.
7 for 12, I believe.
Yeah, so it's still right around that 50% mark, but he just has to become a better jump shooter. So because he doesn't have that reliable jump shot, I don't think if he sat out 2 more games and came back, if he's not 100% on a knee, he's not going to be the same old Giannis. So you might as well roll him out there and get whatever you can now. Because if not, you're going to put yourself in a hole by not having him out there. And now you're still relying on Brook Lopez and whoever else to not only score and defend what Giannis should be, but they have to now do everything. And I don't think that, for a game or two, you can get by without Giannis. A full series, you're not going to get by without him. You got to have him out there doing something, whether that's just getting foul calls on the defense or what. You need to have him out there creating something for somebody else.
Yep. I gave him a B. I mean, I hate to agree with it, but I gave him a B as well. I wanted to almost give him like a B plus just because I know a lot of superstars of his caliber. I mean, I don't think they would have been able to play. I think that knee is really, really, really messed up. Man. I think it really. I don't think it's like anything torn, but if this was a regular season, he would be out for about a month. And I think he's now having to, give it all he got. You never know when you get back here again. So I definitely respect him for playing. But Brian, said it all. The lack of a jump shot with this injury is it is what it is. And you can only dip your shoulder and use your strength so much. Players are strong in the NBA as well, or they just gonna plant their feet, sit there, and get a charge on you. Where I seen that early in the game as well. You know what I mean? Good point right here by J. Cool. He's playing on that knee. He's digging deep. I respect that 110%. You know what I mean? For sure. But with Giannis, if it was me, I would have held him out until game 3. I wouldn't have played him till game 3, regardless of what happened, because this is the thing: your team was riding high. They had 2 wins in the Eastern Conference Finals without him, so they was riding high. I would have rolled that. If you don't want to play him game 3, at least game 2 then. I would at least roll in game 1 with the same hot hands and the same rotation and everything, just to see how it went. now, because if you get blown out or lose or any type of way, you can say, okay, we in good position. We still got our ace in the hole, Giannis. You know what I mean? But now I feel like they push everything, all their chips to the table and say, Giannis gonna play game one, and they all, lose the game, and you're looking at Giannis, he's not nowhere near close. I would have just gave him that extra. They play on a Tuesday, like last night was a Tuesday. Give him till Sunday. Game three, he come back. They'll be at home. That Milwaukee fan, that crowd will be rocking. First time they have an NBA Finals since Kareem, whatever. You know what I mean? Being in the
Lou
finals. So
Alcindor.
Lou Alcindor then, right? This is
Yeah.
before he even changed the name. So
Yeah.
I would have done that. I wouldn't have willed him out there so early. But it is what it is. He out there. He has to perform. And Giannis has got to find a way to make the mid-range jumper. He ain't got to make threes. It's just that little pull-up 15, 18-footer. He's going to have to nail at a decent clip for the Bucks to win if he's going to be out there on the floor. Because him going to the free throw line is just not beneficial to the Bucks for him going to the free throw line 12, 15 times a game.
Which is crazy because you going to the free throw line, that's helping you gauge your range for your jump shot. So that's why I'm lost as to as many free throws as he takes. His field goal percentage should be a hell of a lot better than what it is because you getting practice shots, man. You got no excuse.
Yeah, that's true. And I said, do you have, Chris posted something, it's the finals, do you have to hold back? Can you hold back? It's not about holding back. It's about they were just hot. The Bucks were hot with this, without Giannis for a second. And sometimes a team play above their head when their superstar is out. So,
But you know
sometimes you
what?
got to ride that wave. Go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
will have to say that if they would have held him out, maybe they would have played that old school
Brooke
dump it down
Lopez
in the
go back to
post
the post.
game.
Now, yep. Go ahead, Will. Yep.
And that's kind of what I was going to go along because whenever we saw these last two games against Atlanta without Giannis, you saw a lot of Brooke Lopez and a lot of him, and he played phenomenal and taking advantage of the mismatch down there against Atlanta, and it worked great. And to be able to do that, and then not only that, but I like what you said, Cam. Whenever you said that, having Giannis on the back burner. If you have him on the back burner, you lose game one, you go, all right, well, we still got him. We still have Giannis, we have our guy, everything like that. But if you win that game, you want to talk about building confidence. I think it was Jay in the comment section who said that the Suns got a lot of confidence from winning that game one. And you do, especially if that star player is out there, regardless if he's 100% or not. Because the expectation is if you're going to be out there, you're going to ball, you're going to perform. You're going to do everything like that. So now Phoenix is riding a hot hand. And these are, for both sides, these are a lot of guys who have never been there before. So it really is trying to get that first look. Now Phoenix, this is their first time for a lot of the guys, for CP3, for D Book, for everybody really. And they got that first W. Now they've had that taste. This is a Milwaukee team that's had expectations, but has fallen short multiple years. And I understand the idea of wanting to get ahead and wanting to go forward and really get in there, take an early game one lead, try to go back to Milwaukee with a game or two. But that's the thing. If you only need a game, if you walk out of Phoenix with a game, you're doing all right, and that's the thing. You can put him on the back burner. And if you have to sacrifice game one, you can sacrifice game one, but the thing is that they didn't think they could. I don't think anybody thought that with or without Giannis that the Bucks were going to be a pushover team. I thought the Bucks performed great, especially against Atlanta without him. And I understand Trey was out too, but still, they played phenomenal. They played great ball. They were very cohesive as a unit. You could tell they weren't trying to force anything. They just kind of worked it down low. Brooke Lopez backs up his guy, and the next thing you know, Brooke Lopez ends the night with 30-plus points. So it's just whatever shot you can create, you create it. And, I feel like it's trying to force Giannis in a little bit too early. I like the idea of having him out there. I love the idea of having, if the Bucks are there, I want Giannis in the lineup. But at the same time, I don't want to rush him back because, like we said, this is probably going to be an injury where at the end of the season he's going to get off-season surgery. He's gonna have to address that because it got blown out pretty bad. And so to see him come back so quick, and like I said, he just didn't play like Giannis plays. So now you got to figure out that difference, and it's just it didn't come in game one. Hopefully he can figure out something for game two.
Yep, and I remember before we move on, I remember saying on GMs for Hire the other day, the points in the paint, they gotta win
Mm-hmm.
that. Suns won the battle yesterday. They outscored them by 4 in points in the paint. The
Absolutely.
Bucks got to dominate that. I'm talking about 20 more points than the Suns as far as points in the paint. They cannot allow the Suns to win that battle at all, in my opinion. Um, Now, a lot of people say, you can't go down 2-0, and different things like that. I'm gonna start with Brian on this one. Do you feel like the Bucks have to win Game 2 in order to win this series?
If they would not have played Giannis in game one, I would have said, no, it didn't matter. If they were actually going to go the hold him out route to make sure that he's healthy, whether he came back and played game 3 in Milwaukee, because I would have assumed that they would have been down 0-2 by not playing him. So I think they forced their own hand, in which, I'm not sold on the Coach Bud. I think he forced his own hand to make game 2 a game that they need to win
Yep.
in order for them to have that psyche of, we can still go back home and we can still win both games at home. Do I think they're really going to do it? No, I don't. Because I don't think that they have the mental wherewithal to take advantage of their strength, which is slowing the game down, playing old school basketball where you dominate in the paint.
That's simple.
I think that they tried to keep up with Phoenix with running a little bit too much instead of taking the air out of the ball, slowing it down, because that's how they beat Atlanta. They took the air out of the ball when they knew Trae Young was not there. So you didn't have to score 120 points.
Yep.
You can score 90 and still win the game. They're going to have to make Phoenix slow down, take the air out of the ball, and make it a low-scoring game.
Will. It's a must win for the Bucks.
I hate to do the broken record thing, but man, it really does it does feel like a must win game. It really does. This year the Suns were 24-12 on the road. That's impressive. You're going, you're almost doubling you are doubling your wins over your losses on the road, and that's in the regular season. Sure, you can say what you want about the playoffs, but they're also just coming off of a 4-game sweep. So they've also shown that they can play on the road in the playoffs. This is not a pushover team by any means. Neither is Milwaukee. Obviously, you get to the NBA Finals, and it's you know exactly what you got. You got your 2 best teams. Now, that's the problem. If you go down 2-0, sure, you're going back home to your own stadium, your own fans, and everything such as that. But all it takes is one loss in there, and to feel the energy get sucked out of your own arena, and then it hits different. If you play 2 games in Phoenix and the fans are down your throat and the fans are just going crazy and all this, and then you drop another game at home where you're almost just playing in front of a sold out silent arena, it does something to you. It's going to do something to you, and it's going to make you uncomfortable. And then if it's not, it doesn't feel good to ever be in front of your home fans and your fans don't even have your back anymore. So it's gonna. I think this has to be a must-win game. I think this is a very, very important game for momentum wise, and it has a lot with playing Giannis. It really does, because now you have him back. Your Bucks fans are even going to start thinking, we have him back, and we're still down 0-2. You're gonna, even as a fan, as a Bucks fan, you're gonna start questioning it. You're gonna start getting, concerned about it and getting, worried about your team. And now you're losing hope as a fan. You're coming back to Milwaukee, sure, but you're already down in a rut. You're down you're down 2-0. You got to find a way to try to even it out and start basically a brand new series of 5 going into Milwaukee. because you got to figure something out quick. You don't want to go down 2-0 just because that loss in front of your home crowd, it does something to you. You want to give Phoenix a taste of that medicine before you go on and go back to Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think they have to win game two. They got to win game two. Now, um, Chris mentioned here that they've beat the Nets after being down 0-2, so it's definitely possible. But that was with a healthy Giannis. You know what I mean? Still, he was fully healthy at that point. Because I honestly feel like if he was healthy, can't nobody stop Giannis on Phoenix. Yesterday, I mean, I seen uh him just go right through Ayton and just dunk. You know what I mean? So it's not like if Giannis wasn't healthy, that it would be a whole different ball game. You talk about, he had 20 points and 17 rebounds on a bum knee. Let's talk about if he's healthy and able to finish through some of that contact like he normally do. You're talking about maybe a 40-20 type of game. Or 35 point, 20 rebound type of game. And Aiden a big strong dude, and he made him look little at times in that paint.
You got to think about it, they're the same size.
They
Yeah,
are.
they're both
They are the
6'11".
same. I know, but they both 6'11". They both like
They're
250,
built
260
completely
pounds.
different.
But Giannis is a whole different 250 man.
Giannis
Cause
is a Mack truck. The Ayton is a toothpick, but
I
it
think,
is what it is.
yeah. But and that's and for just injuries just hampered this postseason. As much as we hate to admit it, it just hampered this postseason, and it looked like it may kind of rear its head here in the finals as well, because I really think it'll be I the Suns really, the way they perform, they really, really, really kind of put your doubt in, man. I pick Bucks in six, and I'm gonna keep the prediction. I don't change, but yeah, after looking at game one, it just looked like, man. There's some things. There's a lot of adjustments that have to be made, and Bud is kind of stubborn.
Yes,
Sometimes he believe his philosophy works, like no matter what,
yes,
and he is drilling home. And I
Hmm.
don't see him switching on pick and roll defense, and that has me scared to death, because I don't think Brook Lopez is gonna contain Chris Paul this series. He's gonna drop 30 a game if that's gonna be the case.
That's facts. No,
because even with switching, they still didn't help.
that's true.
There was there was no help. They switched and was like, okay, you got it. And it's like,
Yep.
no, you need to come help. But
And
yeah,
poor PJ Tucker, he always gets stuck. Whether it's getting pick and rolls with Ayton, he got to guard Ayton on the switch, or he's guarding whether it's Booker or CP3. But I mean, for me, I'm putting Middleton, get him on Bridges. Okay, and Middleton's not a bad defender, but put him on Bridges. Give me PJ Tucker on Booker. Give me Drew on Chris Paul, and you can't get buried on screens. Try to fight through them, and let's go and let's live with what we got. And that would be me defensively if I'm them. But the Bucks got to win game two, because they'll be going back home, heads down, and trying to figure out how to get out of that hole. Go ahead, Will. What was you
I
saying?
really don't know what exactly. I never understood why throughout the entire game we just saw Brook Lopez right there at the top of the key at almost every single possession. I'm like, what are you? Do you not see that really tall dude on Phoenix that's going to go right past him? Like, it
Hmm.
honestly, Ayton had the opportunity. Ayton, if they played it right, Chris Paul could have had. I mean, I can't say they played it wrong. They won the game. They did exactly what they had to do, but they could have easily just fed it through Ayton all game, and Ayton could have had 40. And Chris Paul could have had 15, 18 assists by the end of the game. Because it was just nobody was down there. It always seemed to be just. It seemed to be Drew Holiday trying to cover his guy on the wing, and he just happened to have to play zone defense down in the paint. And when you get a 6'3" Drew Holiday versus a 6'11" DeAndre Ayton, good luck. It is what it is. I understand Drew's a good defender, but look, that's too much. That's a little bit too much of a difference down there. You got to have somebody down there and then throw the lob. Exactly. There were multiple opportunities. DeAndre Ayton could have ate all day if Chris Paul wanted to do that. Chris Paul literally could have just lobbed it right over Brook Lopez's head, and it was in almost every single time. Like, it could have happened. It happened a couple times, but they could have ate off of that for a while. Granted, they didn't have to. Chris Paul was in his own. He was a completely different man on game one. That guy, he got to the finals and he said, "This is my time," and he definitely showed it. Shout out to CP3, but man, it was just the Bucks got to make adjustments. They got to make them quick because whatever they were doing game one, the score doesn't show it. The score doesn't show just how much Williams outcoached Coach Bud in that game, because it was just the pick and roll and everything such as that, the size disadvantage, and then having to switch on screens, getting your center up against a point guard, and a great point guard in that, it didn't make sense. And ultimately, whenever Ayton's going to be put up, or whenever Chris Paul is going up against a Brook Lopez, against a Bobby Portis, against all of these guys, you're going to watch him eat all day, and no matter what. And if he's not eating, he's going to find Ayton, who's going to be wide open. So it's, like you said, Coach Cam, D Book, he was held back. He wasn't, he had 27 points, but he definitely wasn't efficient. He didn't have a good enough game. But this is they figured out D Book. But if they do that defensive alignment, like you just said, Coach Cam, I think we're going to see a completely different game too. I think it's going to be set up in a completely different way, and you're going to see a lot closer of a game for sure.
Absolutely. Bucks got to slow the game down. They can't get in an up and down game. I think Brian said it. We've all said it. Jay Cooper said it in the comments. You have to slow the game down. Keep this game in the low hundreds. You know what I mean? High 90s. And play old school basketball. That's what it's going to come down to. Now, before we go, real quick, game 2. Who you got? Brian. Bucks Suns.
I got the Suns. And until Bud and the Bucks show me something different, I got to pick them.
Will.
I'm right there with him. Yeah, Coach Bud's got too much of a history of just staying in his own. I don't think it. I think if they find a way to maybe defend Chris Paul, they're going to find a way to get D Book open. I don't think they're going to find a way to check all the boxes. I think the Suns will pull one out.
All right, you got Suns game 2. Hey, I gotta stick with my prediction, and that was Bucks in 6. And if they're gonna do Bucks in 6, they gotta win. They gotta win tomorrow night. I got the Bucks. I got the Bucks winning a close one. I think they find a way to do it. Anytime you think the Bucks are dead and gone, and you might think they just about done, and here we go again, they put a performance together and make you like, oh, okay, maybe not. So I'm expecting that this time. I'm expecting one of those performances where everybody count them out. Everybody expect them to lose, and they come out and steal one. I got them winning the game 2. I got the Milwaukee Bucks taking game 2 and tying up the series. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for joining the Timeout with Coach Cam. I really appreciate it. Once again, we'll let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, you guys, if you're watching it still, you see the handle right here at GMs for Hire on all platforms. We're on YouTube. Find us there. You can also find us on the Coast to Coast Network every Thursday, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. We go live every day, or every Thursday. We have that hour spot right there. We try to talk about some sports and everything such as that, but do all types of content, man. We do fantasy drafts, we do tier lists, we do news videos, everything such as that. Even some historical content. We try to go back and go cover some old stuff. So yeah, definitely a great channel. Go check us out, all social media platforms right there at GMs for Hire. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you around.
All right, Brian. Where they can find you at, Brian?
Man, they can find me at work until somebody else come jump on the show. I'll be at work, and if I ain't at work, and I got 4 girls, man, I got kids, so I'm a little bit everywhere.
He might be a guest on GMs for Hire quite a bit. I mean, he might be around. Right. You can catch him there
definitely.
too.
I'll definitely bring him all the time out for sure. So he always have a home here. And Chris, it's okay, man. I
1 year, man. 1
I
year.
understand your Sixers, man. I just wanted you to listen to your big bruh about Ben Simmons and Doc Rivers. That's all. I just wanted you to listen to me. That's
Yeah, man, that
all.
ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work.
I mean, Doc Rivers has shown for years that I just think he that Big Three championship is saving his legacy at this point. It's like he got that championship, and everybody think he's like top of the line coach.
But you know,
He's not.
it with Doc, Doc has a philosophy of what he thinks a player should be, and if that player can conform and do and be what he wants them to be, you'll get a championship. You'll get a Boston Celtics championship. Ben Simmons is not going to be what Doc Rivers wants him to be. It's not going to work. One of them got to move. It's going to have to be some kind of change in philosophy. Doc ain't changing his
Yeah.
philosophy, and I don't see Ben Simmons changing a jump shot. I don't know.
He'll
Nah,
be on
he
the
talking about
Sharks soon enough.
yeah, and he's talking about switching his shooting hand. I'm like, man, I and you know what's crazy? I've never like I've always liked Ben Simmons. I thought he always could been that generational type of player. But I just don't. I just see too many NBA players come in at least with a mid-range jump shot, show something of a jump shot, and they get to the league and it goes away. Like they forgot how to shoot.
It
Like how I don't
disappeared.
understand how that happens. Like you get to the NBA and you forget how to shoot a basketball.
It's like Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman in college could shoot. He was an
Yeah,
offensive player.
right.
He got to the league and he saw my thing is going to be defense and rebounding. Period. Now, if Ben Simmons is going to be defense and rebounding, I don't know how you be that as a point guard. You
Yeah.
might need to change your position and rely more and start being more of a power forward. Yeah, I can see that. But as a point guard, you got the ball in your hand. You can't have the ball in your hand that much and be that ball dominant without striking the fear into the defense of I have to actually guard him from shooting a jump shot. You
You know how
can't.
much space you can
Yeah,
give? Yeah, you can just. You got it.
I
Yeah, he
mean, even
playing
Magic
below
would
the
shoot a
foul
jump shot.
line, man. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Like that's insane to me. But like I said, I really appreciate you guys for coming on. Time out with Coach Cam. Hey, catch us. It may catch us after. It may catch us together after game two. You never know on somebody's platform. You never know. But we'll definitely have a recap of game two as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But appreciate everybody for watching. Appreciate the the comments. But till next time, we out.